Call the meeting to order with a moment of silent prayer. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, Mrs. Franks.
Mayor Kindle.
Present.
Councilwoman Costantino.
Present.
Councilman Jenny.
Here.
Councilwoman LaPratt.
Present.
Mayor Pro Tem Sawicki. Absent. Councilwoman Williams.
Present.
Councilman Toussaint is absent. Acting City Manager Szymanski.
Here.
City Attorney DeWally.
Here.
Okay, I need a motion to excuse Councilwoman Sawicki and Councilman Toussaint. Do we need to do it separately or can we do them together? We can do it together. All right? Any second? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Before we begin with the minutes, I want to make a quick announcement. As you all may notice that we are all dressed down as possible without being naked because we have no air conditioning in this building and our staff and everyone has been sweating out to get things done. The part is on order, but it has, as with everything else, there is a delay in getting parts and getting things to operate. So in the meantime, I ask you please to indulge with us, not to make overlong statements. We do not need a lot of hot wind because we would like to conduct the business that we need to conduct without all of us sweating and passing out. So with saying that, please act accordingly. All right, I need approval of the minutes.
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
I make approval for minutes, regular city council meeting held on June 12th, 2023, library board meeting held on May 18th, 2023, special library board meeting held on June 7th, 2023.
Support.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. We have public comment on agenda items only. If you have a comment regarding that, please step up to the mic, identify yourself. Seeing none, I need a resolution for the consent agenda.
Madam Mayor?
Yes.
Will we be discussing the high variance today?
Ma'am, if it's not on the agenda, did you read the agenda?
Yes, I did. I noticed some words in here about a zoning agenda. I didn't see anything on there about building.
If it's not on the agenda, then it's not in our minutes for today.
Thank you.
Excuse-
Madam Mayor?
Yes.
I'll offer the resolution to approve the consent agenda, items 1 through 11.
Support.
Any discussion? Roll call vote, Mrs. Franks.
Councilwoman Costantino.
Yes.
Councilman Jenny.
Yes.
Councilwoman LaPratt.
Yes.
Councilwoman Williams.
Yes.
Mayor Kindle.
Yes.
Resolution passes.
All right. That takes us to old business, and since we have no old business, new business, city manager's report, but also, is this the time that we add the, what's for the agenda? We have the
We're
addition
We're going to do it at the end.
at the end. Okay?
Okay, item G1, 2022 audit presentation. Mayor and council, representatives from Plant Moran are in attendance tonight to present the 2022 audit report. The audit report and related materials have been provided to you under separate cover. It is recommended that after the presentation, these be received and filed. Holly, Jacob? Maria?
All right, good afternoon,
Good afternoon.
Mayor and members of council. My name is Ali Hijazi. I'm a partner with Plant Moran and the partner on the audit for the city of Harper Woods. With me today, I have Jacob Janes, an audit manager serving the city of Harper Woods, and we're here to present the results of the December 31st, 2022 audit of the financial statements for the city of Harper Woods. As mentioned, there's a few deliverables that you have in your materials. The audited financial statements, which are the 70 or so page document that represent the financial statements in accordance with generally accepted accounting principles and includes our audit opinion, a letter to City Council that summarizes the results of our audit, and our plan for this evening is to cover the highlights, financial highlights in this slide presentation, which you each should have in front of you as well as included in your materials. So I get the honor of sharing the opinion that we provide on the city's financial statements. That's what you hire us to provide. And the financial statements for 2022 include what we call an unmodified opinion. That's a clean opinion on your financial statements. It's the highest level of assurance that we can provide on a set of financial statements. It means the numbers and the footnote disclosures are all prepared in accordance with generally accepted accounting principles. And part of our process to get to that point is we do procedures beginning right after your year-end closes, and it commences with several weeks of field work where we have a staff of between 4 and 6 people that come on site at the city and work with your team to audit the transactions during the year. So it's really a significant joint effort to accomplish the audit each year, and we definitely appreciate the preparedness and efforts of your staff, including John and Maria, Kim, Leslie, and all the department heads that we work with throughout the process. So we request a lot of information, and it's in addition to your team's daily responsibilities. So we really appreciate the relationship and the cooperation that we get from your team. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Jake. He's going to walk through the slide presentation, and we're happy to address any questions either as they come up or at the conclusion of his remarks.
Okay.
Thank you, Ali. As mentioned, I'm going to briefly cover some highlights of the 2022 financial statements. So the first slide you see on the TV here is an overview of the general fund's revenue, expenditures, and unassigned fund balance. And this will be expanded upon in a little more detail in the subsequent slides. But on the left side of the graph here, it's 2020, then it goes all the way through 2022. And basically that orange bar that you see is revenue. You can see that it has been increasing over time. Expenditures increase as well at a smaller rate than revenue, leading to an overall increase in your fund balance for the general fund. So just at a glance, you can see that the fund balance is a little over 20% of expenditures currently, which is a benchmark that municipalities kind of look to, and that's really been a factor of just overall increases in revenue, and particularly the Public Act 33 levy, which is the police and fire tax levy. That has really allowed you to grow your fund balance over time. If you wouldn't mind moving to the next slide, Maria. So this chart here breaks down the revenue that you saw in the previous slide by category. So looking at this, you can see that a significant portion of the city's revenue, over 80%, comes from both a combination of property taxes and intergovernmental sources. So these are grants received from the state of Michigan or from the federal government. Property taxes obviously are taxes levied on citizens of the city. So these two sources combine to make up greater than 80% of the city's revenue, with the next largest being licenses and permits and other miscellaneous sources of revenue for services performed. This is consistent with years past. Obviously, taxes are always the largest source of revenue for any municipality. The next slide breaks down the city's expenditures. So similar to what you saw on the revenue slide we just looked at, expenditures are really composed of two primary components, which are A, employee and retiree fringe benefits, and B, public safety. So those two sources combine to make up approximately 77% of the general fund's expenditures. One thing to point out here, it's hard to see in the TV, but there's a sliver in the center up top that represents capital outlay. There has been a pretty immaterial amount spent on capital outlay from the general fund in 2022, and this is just worthy of note, as it may indicate some capital projects are deferred that may require spending in future periods. Sorry, yes. Is this better for you? Sorry about that. Yep. Next slide, please, Maria. And this graph represents the city's fund balance and the change in that fund balance from 2020 through 2022. So as I mentioned briefly on the first slide we looked at, revenues did outpace expenditures for the general fund, and this has led to an increase in your unassigned fund balance. So this is a positive trend. Basically, you could think of this sort of as a rainy day or emergency fund. So this money is available for use when problems arise, such as an air conditioner that's going haywire or things along those lines. So it's a positive trend to have a general fund balance becoming a little more healthy. So moving on from the general fund, this slide here shows the water and sewer funds net position over the previous 3 periods. So again, this graph starts in 2020 and moves through 2022. And the blue line on the top here is your investment in capital assets, and the orange line below is the unrestricted fund balance of the water and sewer fund. So the blue bars on the top half of the graph represent the water and sewer fund's investment in capital assets. So drainage pipes, things along those lines. This has been steadily increasing over time, from about 2.6 million in 2020 to about 2.9 million in 2022. The orange bars on the bottom there are the unrestricted fund balance, net position of the water and sewer fund. And this has actually been decreasing. So the graph where this starts is, you can see it's a negative there. And basically, it's been fairly consistent. So starting at a negative $5.3 million net position in 2020 and right about the same amount this time around. Really the biggest cause for that is that the water and sewer fund shares a significant portion of the city's pension and retiree health liabilities. So given the size of those and how many resources it takes to fund those, the water and sewer fund's net position is actually negative, as seen in the graph here. And the last slide here is a brief overview of the city's net pension and OPEB liabilities. So pension is obviously payments to retirees subsequent to retirement, and OPEB stands for other post-employment benefits. So this is health care paid to retirees subsequent to their retirement. So the first row in this chart here shows the net pension liability for each of the last 2 years. And it stayed pretty much exactly the same at $30.8 million in both years. The second row is the net OPEB liability, and you can see this actually had a very significant decrease from $31.3 million last year to $20.1 million this year. A lot of the reason for this increase is due to assumptions and changes in market conditions. For example, the biggest factor contributing to this decrease in your future OPEB costs is the rate environment that we've experienced in the past year. So the OPEB plan is on a pay-as-you-go basis, and that means essentially costs are paid for when incurred rather than being funded ahead of time and held in investments. And under those conditions, the plan is required to use the risk-free rate as the discount rate when calculating the amount of future benefits that will be owed. So what that means is since interest rates have increased so significantly in the past year, the amount of the discount rate has increased alongside that and has reduced the expected future expenditures under the OPEB plan. I do want to point out this is a temporary change here. So if rates were to decrease in the future, this would result in the OPEB liability going back up, as is essentially a complex calculation that attempts to estimate the future costs. And this is actually what was seen a couple of years back, I think in 2020, when the liability increased significantly.
Yeah, so just to basically summarize this, because that an $11 million change in your retiree healthcare liability is pretty significant. So what Jake is pointing out, I just think is worth reiterating, is when actuaries perform these calculations, one of the inputs is interest rates. So when interest rates go up, that liability goes down in their calculation, and vice versa. So 2 years ago, if you actually look at the history, you would have seen about a $10 million difference going the other way when interest rates were cut. So it's a point in time, this measurement, and so you need to continue to kind of think about, I mean, obviously the city's paying its liabilities as they come due, but this liability, when you have rates changing, is going to fluctuate one way or the other. The goal is obviously to eventually have that number not be something that has to be funded over a number of years. So the city's taken some steps over the years to reduce that liability through other more long-lasting impacts, and those have been very strategic decisions that the city has made to reduce that liability in a more permanent way, as opposed to the temporary change that you see here this year.
Okay. All right.
So I think that brings us to the conclusion of our financial update. Happy to take any questions, but I think if I can just summarize the gist, I think there was a time not too long ago where the city's general fund balance was, maybe less than 5% of your expenditures, and which doesn't provide you with the flexibility to cover costs that might be unexpected, like capital, or to pay for things that you can't fund in any one budget cycle. So it has really been an important goal of this council and previous councils and administration to increase that fund, because that's a necessary cushion that you need to have to account for some of those expenditures you're going to have to fund. So it's really positive to see the city headed in that direction, and it's directly tied to the funding from the city's property taxes. So the Act 33 millage is really an important part to the city being where it is. Because grants come and go, you can't really control how much grant funding you have, and so being really strategic with the resources that are coming in and thoughtful about how you use those is important to maintaining a healthy fund balance. But we're happy to take any questions.
Well, what we'll do is take a motion, and then during discussion, you can ask your questions, okay? So we take the motion. I need a motion to accept this audit report.
Madam Mayor, I'll make the motion to receive and file the 2022 audit financial report as submitted by the city's auditors, Plant and Moran, and also receive and file their management report.
Support.
All right, discussions now. So if you have a question, now's the time. You had one, yeah, go first, and then you.
So you say our fund balance now is around 20%. So I know that's an increase from last year. What's it last year, like 15?
As a percentage, bear with me just a second. So last year you had unassigned fund balance of about $2.1 million against expenditures about 12 and a half. So you were probably a little under, maybe 18% or so. Whereas this year you would actually be probably around 23 or 24%.
Yes.
A question and a comment. First of all, how are we in relationship to our pension funding? Because I know that we've been working hard to fund that, and where we're supposed to be.
Yeah, so your net liability is about $30.9 million. But if I give you a little bit more history, so back in 2015, your liability would have been about $36 million. So you're calling it about $6 million better over the last 7 years on your net pension liability. And really, that's actually kind of understating the progress you've made, because what's happened over the last, say, 10 years have been actuaries have really adjusted assumptions to recognize that folks are living longer, we're not earning as much on investments as maybe would have been assumed back then. So you're $6 million better, but you've had about $4+ million of liability added from those assumptions. So you've really made a meaningful reduction in your net pension liability, and now you're currently funding the full required contribution, which again, going back, 5 or 10 years ago wasn't always the case. So it's still something that's going to take, at least a couple decades probably to get that to where you're 90 to 100% funded, but definitely the trend over the last 7 years has been in the right direction.
And I just want to, I had a comment that we can thank John Szymanski, our acting city manager, for this very positive audit report.
Well, we have not only Maria and Kim.
Maria and
And
the whole
Kim,
team.
the
Kim
financial
and
team.
Yes, yes, the
John
whole
can't
team.
do it alone.
Right, because this has been a lot of work to turn our city around and get ourselves into a positive flow this way, to the point where a council member from Grosse Pointe Woods asked me, how is Harper Woods doing this? How come Harper Woods is in better shape than Grosse Pointe Woods right now?
In the park.
And the park, well, the park's getting there, but yeah.
Yeah,
All
it's,
right, not a problem. All right, we thank you very much. Is there any other questions anyone has? Okay, I need a, is all in favor of accepting the audit report and management report?
Aye.
Is there anyone opposed? Motion carries. Thank you very much, gentlemen.
thank you.
Thank you. Okay, item G2, public hearing. Amendment to the zoning ordinance. Mayor and council, as scheduled, we will hold a public hearing tonight, Monday night, to receive public comment and input on the proposed amendment to the zoning ordinance to allow recreational marijuana establishments. As was previously provided to you at your last meeting, the section of the zoning ordinance that will be amended is presented herein, and there have been minor changes, including Section C, location, requiring that at least 1,000 feet, and that's a typo, from child care centers and schools. Also, Section D, Item B, the hours of operation have been adjusted to reflect, and there's a typo here, 9 a.m. to 10 p.m. For this portion of the agenda, only the standard motions of opening and closing the public hearing will be required. Mayor, a motion is recommended.
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
I would like the resolution to adopt the zoning ordinance amendment entitled an ordinance to amend zoning ordinance sections 10.
You're on the wrong one.
You're on the wrong one.
A
It's
motion,
G2.
just to open the meeting.
It's
Just to open the
it's the
public
zone,
hearing.
it's just to open. So I need a
My
mo,
motion to
I just need a motion, so just
My
say,
motion to open the public hearing on the amendment to the zoning ordinance.
all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Or who supported it?
Did anybody support? that?
Anybody support her opening?
Support, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay. Are we overheated already?
Yeah, just hard to hear.
Okay, so, all in favor of opening the zoning ordinance?
Aye.
Aye.
Is there anyone opposed? Motion carries. Now it's open. If you have anything that you wish to say in regards to this, you can get to the mic and identify yourself. And you have 3 minutes. And we have a timer now. So, anyone, you come to the mic and identify yourself.
Hello, my name is Janice Mall. I wasn't able to attend the last meeting, so I am not knowledgeable of some of the things. I just know these.
Can you pull the mic closer?
I'm sorry, I know these shops are coming, so, if I understanding, are there 2 shops or 1 shop coming, or how many shops are proposed? I heard there were 4, and they took it down to 2. Did
There's
you
no-
decide on a number of how many locations
There's no,
and where they might be?
no, that's
No,
not
so-
a part of this.
So no, okay. And then, so then there's been no accurate discussion on the hours of these establishments? Agreed
Yes,
on? Is it the
that's the
9?
hours.
That's still, I'm sorry. I
9
can't-
a.m.
9 to 10?
to 10 p.m.
Okay. And then what about the security for the residents concerning these establishments? Because we're gonna have a lot of traffic coming from a lot of different locations, a lot of people into our neighborhoods that don't reside here. So what about the security that might be going to those establishments instead of coming to us for help?
That is something that will be provided by each establishment, which have followed the rules.
Sorry, I'm sorry. I can't
That
hear.
follows the rules of the state.
Okay,
Those things are already established by state laws as to security and all that. Those places will be probably some of the most secure places in the city.
okay, I'm not talking about the security of them per se, but what about the residents? What if they have to go there for things rather than helping us in our community?
It's a time of, yes.
We did a little bit of research on this, and we found out that these establishments have far less incidents than a CVS store. So as far as security, there is no trouble with these establishments as far as, you know, anybody hanging out. A lot of it's gonna be defined by our zoning,
And the traffic too?
everything.
Okay,
Yeah,
thank you.
you're welcome.
You are? So I can't see it on this section here. Okay. So, okay. Is there anyone else? I mean, it's the open forum. This is the time to speak if you have any questions or comments. This is the time to speak. The mic is there.
Larry Hakeem, I live on Little Stone Road. I just have a couple questions. There was some confusion at the last meeting in your conversation regarding this whole cannabis issue. And I was wondering if, I was confused and wondering if the council or the committee that recommended the council, how many establishments licensed, not necessarily just retail, but a provisional, you know, where they, like they call them a kitchen, where they can prepare the gummies and whatever other stuff, which is actually a closed facility and not open to the public. And I was wondering if the city, if you guys have any idea as to how many licenses you're going to put out, and have any idea as to how many applications you're going to take in. And I just like an answer if anybody has one.
Sharon? Well, actually, because we have no limit. Oh, McKenna's here too? Okay. All right.
Can I just get a little closer? I can't hear
I'm
what
gonna talk really loud. I'm gonna talk really loud, and just so everybody can hear me, is that it's a 2 answer that involves zoning as well as some revising of our regulatory ordinance. Okay, that will be explained right now, and of course, we do have the person from McKenna to talk. The only places, thank you very much, the only places where retail establishments, and we're only allowing retail at this point, nothing else, retail establishments is going to be Harper and Kelly. Those are the two places in the city of Harper Woods where they could possibly be located, per zoning. Okay? And then we'll get to the regulatory ordinance when it comes up in the next.
Response on the number of applications you're gonna make for the number of businesses. How many is gonna be proposed? Is gonna be put forward to the planning committee so that the measurements and stuff that you guys are requiring?
That's what it'll
That'll be
eventually
based-
come down to.
Yeah.
It'll
That's
go to
gonna be
zoning.
based on zoning.
Basically zoning, so they'll decide what's 1,000 feet away, what 50, and all that stuff. And then they'll decide on the number at that point. That's good. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Is there anyone else with any questions?
Hello, my name is Tony Wagner, live on Washtenaw. I'm probably very uninformed as far as what's gone on in this issue locally in the last few months, but just to address, if you will, concerns that come out of the audience, there's a lot of things that you don't know, we don't know, because you've got the 5,000-pound elephant on the other side of Kelly Road. The extent to which places open up in Detroit is directly going to influence how many applicants you have for licenses in Harper Woods, because that's a lot bigger market than this city of 15,000 people. I can speak like knowledgeable on Hamtramck, which had recreational marijuana centers open before Detroit did, and they had 4 that opened up just like that, because their market was not just that little city of 28,000 people, but the surrounding big city of Detroit. Now that Detroit is starting to see recreational centers open up, one of the 4 in Hamtramck is already closed. So I would just say to people who are concerned what it's going to do to Kelly Road, what it's going to do to the neighborhoods and so on, a lot of it's just market forces. If you go into these centers, the price of flower is dropping unbelievably. Basic market forces, supply and demand, to the point where a lot of the centers that are open now are not making any money. There's just too many stores for the number of buyers. So I would just say in the case of Harper Woods, you really can't predict how much of a market you're going to have or not have. So much is going to depend what happens next door in Detroit. That's all I have to add on it.
Thank you. Is there anyone else with a comment or would like to speak during this public hearing? So, if not,
Hi, my name is Marco, Bayberry Park Drive in Livonia. I just wanted to get clarification on what exactly is considered a secondary school, because I'd seen that you guys changed in the zoning ordinance that secondary schools and alternative forms of schools, it goes from 500 feet to 1,000. I just wanted some clarification on what exactly is considered a secondary school.
nothing's changed.
Okay, because I seen on the last council meeting regarding that there was a amendment, a zoning amendment, and originally it was 1,000 feet from regular schools and then 500 feet from secondary schools and alternative schools, and now I'm looking on the current ordinance and it says 1,000.
It changed.
Secondary school is a high school? So then I guess what's the difference? Just because I asked because on the last council meeting discussing these ordinances, we were at 2 looking to add 3, but when you make that change, it just restricts it even more because the 1,500 foot rule between facilities still exists, and then you add it on another 500 feet, unless it's a typo or something else. But I just wanted clarification on that, you know, and wanted to know what the
When we
thought
get the
process
zoning,
was with
that's when we
changing
give
it.
the clarification, correct? When, yeah, when we get clarification on the zoning, that's when we'll have a clear order for you when we do the
I can't,
zoning.
I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
Speaking of money.
We're waiting, this is why we're having a public hearing, so that the zoning will know exactly what we want and do. And so when they give us their feedback from this, then we'll have a clear cut on our website.
Okay, so it's subject to change still, or just because I just was thinking about.
I don't understand about alternative schools, because there's no alternative school. Huh? Yeah.
You know, in particular, the place I'm talking about is on Kelly Road. It's that Diploma Success.
That is also still a part of the Harperwood School District. What you're talking about?
Yeah, that Diploma Success.
That's still a part of the Harperwood School District. They operate under that, so that's not necessarily alternative school.
Right. Okay. Yeah, the part I was talking to, I guess it says in the last month it was 500 feet. It says 1,000 feet from the nearest preschool program, center, primary, intermediate, or secondary school, or like facility. And while the terminology may be the same, I'm just curious as to why you guys would add on another 500 feet when you want to have more facilities. That's, you know, just a thought, you know, looking out for the city. But,
Okay,
yeah,
thank you.
so, okay, all right, thank you.
Hi there, my name is Thomas Dabish and I own a commercial property on Kelly Road. My question to the council is, in the event that there's multiple marijuana retail establishments that apply, how would you guys decide who would get the license and who wouldn't get the license? Will there be a point system, a holistic approach, or would you guys just vote on it with the council? Thank you.
Thank you. No, we can't. We can't give you the answer to that right now.
No answer?
No answer.
Okay, thank you.
Hello, beautiful council. It's the greatest show on earth. I'd like to remind the council that I was here 2 months ago when you agreed on 4 to 5 licenses. At the next meeting, you then said 2 to 3. Now, the gentleman asked a good question, and I'm hot because this is the greatest show on earth.
Right.
The attorney said, sir, that there will be a draw of numbers in a hat.
Is there anyone else who would like to speak? If not, I need a motion to close.
Mayor?
Yes.
Motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Okay, item G3, adopt zoning ordinance amendment. Mayor and council, with the public hearing and publication requirements having been met, it is my recommendation that the zoning ordinance amendment for marijuana establishments be adopted. Mayor, a resolution is recommended.
Madam Mayor?
Yes.
Let's try this again. Resolution to adopt the zoning ordinance amendment entitled An Ordinance to Amend Zoning Ordinance Sections 10-240 and 10-643 and add Section 10-264 marijuana establishments, and further to direct the city clerk to publish a notice in accordance with the city charter requirements. Support.
Any discussion?
Madam Mayor?
Yes.
I think considering we have a pretty large audience tonight, it might be worth it to just hit some of the highlights of some of.
That's why
of this.
McKenna is right here. She's
Oh, okay, all right, prior to our vote.
Absolutely. So I'm going to talk very loud because I was sitting by that fan and I know none of us can hear anything past it. Well, first I'd like to answer a few of the questions in the audience. So the reason for the adjustment from 500 to 1,000 feet with regards to the school boundary is that initially you guys had actually asked for 1,000 feet. We accidentally wrote 500. That's on us, and we put it back to where it's supposed to be. 1,000 feet is the basic requirement set by the state. Communities can choose to lower it, but at this time, Harper Woods is choosing to stick with the state standard for 1,000 feet away from school facilities. And the term for alternative school is typically used to refer to Montessori schools that don't have traditional grades. So because they don't have grades, you can't really classify them as an elementary school or a middle school or a high school. So that's what that term previously referred to. But in this case, there's none of those of our concern within the city boundary. So that was just to answer that one real quick. Another audience member had a question about how do you sort out applications when two come in at the same time. In most of the other communities I work in, we consider site plan and special land use approval the stage at which someone has an official application. So, you know, someone might come into your office on a Tuesday and then someone might come in on a Wednesday and say, all right, I'm going to apply next week. You don't know if that person's ever actually going to apply. So once they make it through special land use and site plan approval with the Planning Commission, they're considered a serious applicant that is going to move forward in the licensing process. And at that point, the buffer would be established at 1,500 square feet. So that's the process for determining who comes first. And it's true, you might have two applicants going through site plan approval at the same time, but maybe one goes before the other. But that is the best procedure, especially because given in other cities like Inkster, we have seen marijuana applicants literally constructing up to the day that they open as competitors right next to each other just to make sure that they get that buffer done first. And we don't want to end up with two buildings competing construction, someone not being able to open, all of that conflict. So setting the deadline earlier in the process helps avoid those mistakes. But yeah, so I think the city manager highlighted it pretty well, the changes from last time. But yes, it is 9 a.m. to 10 p.m., just to clarify. And there are no other dramatic changes in this ordinance from the last version that you saw. I should note also to answer the gentleman's question over here, the only type of marijuana facility that is being permitted through the zoning ordinance is retail facilities. So no processing, no growing, none of those other types of marijuana businesses at this time. And the number of licenses is actually the next agenda item. So the zoning ordinance sets where they can go. And then the next agenda item, the licensing ordinance, will set how many licenses will be released. So that's how that works. Does that make a little more sense? Yeah. All right, great. All right, questions from the council?
all right. Thank you.
Yes.
No, I just wanted you to clarify some of the things that were in here. Most of the questions that I've heard are protections for the residents, like smells, traffic, security, things like that. We did have one gentleman tonight who talked about the economics and, you know, if they were to go out of business, or what have you. So are these, I thought maybe you could address some of these questions and things that are found in the ordinance.
Absolutely. So all the questions about security come into play during the site plan review process. So along with the site plan for the construction of the building, the applicant is required to submit what's called a security plan. That shows where the product is going to be kept, how it's going to be secured, safes, locking doors, those sorts of things, security cameras, whether or not they'll have an on-site staff person, which by state law they're required to have a security personnel on site, and how they'll be letting people in and out of the business with locked doors, checking IDs, those sorts of things. So that comes before your safety director as a part of site plan review, and our safety department actually has to sign off on that and say, yes, this meets our standards for what is safety. In terms of traffic and things that are happening outside of the site, our ordinance requires that they provide adequate parking. So if that's provided, that's usually the main concern. Traffic does start to build up if you don't require any parking, because then people park on side streets and in neighborhoods and they're walking. But by requiring adequate parking on site, will be mitigating most of those traffic concerns about flowing through the outer neighborhoods or parking up, street parking, that sort of thing. And then we also do have a requirement that there be a security wall for all of the sides that are not abutting the main right-of-way. So you can't necessarily require a security wall off of Harper, for example, because you got to have a way that a car can turn in and turn out. But for all the other sides, whether it's commercial, residential, or any other type of land use, a security wall is required. So those are the two main components. And then as a part of their site plan, they also have to submit an odor control plan. So during the construction phase, they have to install what's called a carbon infiltration system. There's a couple other more sophisticated odor control systems out there, but the carbon filtration one is the most common. And that gets basically mounted on the building to make sure that no smells come out. And I will say retail facilities are not very smelly places in general. Those carbon filtration systems are way more important for the facilities that are actually processing the product because they're creating most of the smell. Does that help answer your question?
Yes, my follow-up though is what happens if they don't follow these rules? If you start smelling things, they don't change their filter, they have no security, chaos starts happening, anything
Sure.
like that.
So there's two enforcement mechanisms. If they're not following our local standards for, the height of a wall or the level of noise or things like that, we can issue them with a civil infraction for violating the zoning ordinance. And that means that typically, I think it's a $500 ticket every single day, and you can also bring them to appear in court. If they're violating components of state law, like not having adequate security or other things that do not comport with what the state requires of cannabis facilities, then they can actually have their state license revoked. So if the state auditors come and investigate their facility and find that it's non-compliant, their license will be immediately revoked.
Right,
Thank you very much.
Is there any further discussion? Roll call vote, Ms. Swain.
All right, thanks everyone.
Thank you so much.
Councilman Jenny.
Yes.
Councilwoman LaPrat.
Yes.
Councilwoman Williams.
Yes.
Mayor Kindle.
Yes.
Councilwoman Costantino.
I'd like to say something real quick about this as I vote. I expected to hear more opposition, and I did not. So it depends on
This is the vote.
Wait a
Yes.
minute.
Okay. So I'm gonna say yes.
Resolution passes.
Item G4, second reading and adoption. Ordinance number 2023-01, an ordinance amending the recreational marijuana establishments. Mayor and council, attached before you is the revised recreational marijuana establishment ordinance. After much discussion with the city attorney, it is strongly suggested to adopt the alternative language provision outlined in red in the first paragraph of the ordinance. The city feels this language will protect us best in the event of a lawsuit filed due to any interpretation of subjectivity regarding the granting of licenses by deferring the requirements of such licensing to the city's zoning ordinance, including the buffering requirements. Also, as discussed at your last meeting, the late fee amount of $1,000 has been added to any renewal of an existing municipal license if an application for a permit is received after November 1st of each year. It is my recommendation that this ordinance be placed for second reading and adoption. Mayor, a resolution is recommended.
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
I'll offer the resolution placed for second reading and adoption ordinance number 2023-01, entitled an ordinance to amend recreational marijuana establishments. And further to direct the city clerk to publish a notice of this importance city charter requirements. Support.
Support, anybody? Oh, okay. Any discussion?
I don't think they can hear you.
Any discussion?
Yes. Madam Mayor,
Yes.
okay, on this first page, we said amended, let's see, two paragraphs, so how is the amendment supposed to be in both paragraphs?
No, the alternate language.
The alternate language.
Yeah.
question. Because it's the alternate language, so if you yourself or advocacy of that, you can explain to the public what the alternate is. They're asking how many licenses. So this one, the alternate kind of explains.
The alternate provides the best defense in the event of a lawsuit. That's as far as I'm going to go with that.
Sharon can answer better.
Sure, if I can answer that just a little further. The alternate language refers back to the zoning ordinance, which is the buffer zones and the areas where the retail establishments are permitted in the city. There is no number on the amount of licenses. It depends upon the zoning, who applies, where they can find property, and if they get a special land use, it is governed by the zoning ordinance to get through there. So we are not putting a number on, it's self-regulating. And in our discussions, it was determined, and based upon some research, that this was the least subjective way to determine who was going to get a license, rather than put a number on it.
Is there any further discussion? Roll call vote, Mrs. Franks.
Councilwoman LaPrat.
Yes.
Councilwoman Williams.
Yes.
Mayor Kindle.
Yes.
Councilwoman Constantino.
Yes.
Councilman Jenny.
Yes.
Resolution passes.
Okay, item G5, introduction and first reading. An ordinance amending the refuse collection ordinance. Mayor and Council, attached is an ordinance to address some minor changes within the refuse collection ordinance. Specifically, it identifies the size of refuse containers that are permitted for residents to utilize. It also clarifies language regarding the annual curbside leaf pickup and special collection guidelines. The proposed changes are in red. This has been reviewed by the city attorney, and it is my recommendation that it be introduced and placed for first reading. Mayor, a resolution is recommended.
Madam Mayor?
Yes.
Resolution to introduce and place for first reading an ordinance entitled, an ordinance to amend Chapter 9, Section 9-5, pre-collection regulations of the City of Harper Woods Code of Ordinances, and to further direct the city clerk to publish a notice, and this in accordance with the city charter requirements.
Support.
All right. Any discussion?
Madam Mayor?
Yes.
It does say in here that there's some good things, that residents have to put things in bags, not just out at the curb, scattered garbage. The one thing, it does say that you have to put your container out with a lid on it.
Yes.
I know I put mine out, I take the lid off and put it out. I don't know if other people do that, just because I'm afraid that the garbage people are sometimes gonna take the lid. But I also put mine out in the morning and take it back in the evening. So I don't know if we want to keep that or not.
All right. I don't have an answer for you. Okay. Is there any further discussion?
I just wanted to make the point that, that the refuse has to be, not to exceed 40 pounds. So if you put your bags out, it's like luggage on an airplane, you can't exceed 40 pounds, or they can refuse to pick it up.
And for those people that use the Detroit garbage cans, those are 50-pound garbage containers. So when you fill that up, you've already violated the rules for, I'm sorry, something, can you hear me now? A little bit?
Rob, can you turn up the volume on these microphones, please?
Then we get feedback.
Yeah, we get feedback. Okay, can you hear me now? Okay, that's okay, Rob. No. I guess I was talking in my bedroom voice, so now I'll speak in my classroom voice. It's just that people that use the Detroit size containers out there, those are 55-gallon containers. Therefore, they are over the limit for what we have in Harper Woods. And I would suggest very much if you return those back to Detroit and use what we need here in Harper Woods. First of all, we need to make sure we don't put containers out there without lids. The squirrels and the raccoons love them. Next, boxes, cardboard boxes need to be broken down and put into garbage bags. You just can't sit cardboard boxes out there because that's the same thing as having an open lid on your containers. There are a few other things that we need to do to make sure everything that you put out there for garbage pickup should be in a trash bag. And even the dollar store bags are really not sufficient, but it's better than nothing. But we want you to put everything within a garbage bag so when they pick up the bags, they don't strew garbage all over the neighborhood, because that's really, they're not going to pick it up. And so therefore we have garbage strewn from one end to another. But if we do our job part, we would have less garbage over the streets, hopefully. All right. Is there any further discussion? Roll call vote. Mrs. Franks?
Councilwoman Williams.
Yes.
Mayor Kindle.
Yes.
Councilwoman Costantino.
Yes.
Councilman Jenny.
Yes.
Councilwoman LaPrat.
Yes.
Okay, resolution passes.
Okay, item G6, professional services, Anderson, Eckstein, and Westrick, Inc. Mayor and Council, it has been the practice of our engineering firm, AEW, Inc., to increase rates following the Urban Wage Earners and Clerical Work Detroit Metropolitan Area Consumer Price Index. And as such, AEW has requested that we consider authorizing a rate increase of 5% beginning on July 1st of this year. Our last increase was 2020 of 1.4%. Considering the long-term outstanding service provided to our community and their reasonable approach to rate increases, I am recommending that we authorize the rate increase as proposed on the attached hourly change rate sheet. Mayor, a resolution is recommended.
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
I'd like to make the resolution to accept the 5% hourly charge change rate increase proposal dated June 20th, 2023 from engineering firm Anderson, Eckstein, and Westrick Incorporated, effective July 1st, 2023.
Support.
Any discussion?
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
I know it seems like a little bit of money, but I mean, these guys have been with us for 100 years. They know the city inside and out, and to go to another firm would just be silly even to go out for bid. So it's very well spent money on the infrastructure they know.
All right. Is there any further discussion?
Yes, Madam Mayor?
Okay.
Yes, Madam Mayor?
Yes.
So the 2023 24-hourly charge rate, that's on this list. These are the new rates they're asking for, or were these the
As
old
of
ones?
July 1st.
As of July 1st. Is there any further discussion? Roll call vote, Mrs. Franks?
Mayor Kindle.
Yes.
Councilwoman Costantino.
Yes.
Councilman Jenny.
Yes.
Councilwoman LaPrat.
Yes.
Councilwoman Williams.
Yes.
Okay, resolution passes.
Okay, item G7, progress payment, Beaconsfield resurfacing project. Mayor and Council, attaches a memorandum from the Director of Public Works transmitting an invoice from the Michigan Department of Transportation for the city's portion of the Beaconsfield Resurfacing Project Phase 2. As you recall, this MDOT project required a match from the city, and this invoice represents a portion of that cost. I have reviewed this and recommend that this invoice be approved. Mayor, a resolution is recommended.
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
I'll offer the resolution to approve the payment to the Michigan Department of Transportation in the amount of $50,139.16 for the city's proportionate share of the Beaconsfield Resurfacing Project Phase 2.
Support.
Okay, any discussion? Roll call vote, Mrs. Franks.
Councilwoman Costantino.
Yes.
Councilman Jenny.
Yes.
Councilwoman LaPrat.
Yes.
Councilwoman Williams.
Yes?
Mayor Kindle.
Yes.
Resolution passes.
Okay, item G8, progress payment number 1, 2023 pavement joint and crack sealing, number 180-318. Mayor and council, attached is a letter from our city engineers transmitting progress payment number 1 on the 2023 pavement joint and crack sealing project, number 180-318. It is recommended that this payment be approved. Mayor, a resolution is recommended.
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
make the resolution to approve payment to Michigan Joint Sealing Incorporated in the amount of $61,618.81 for progress payment number 1 on the 2023 pavement joint and crack sealing project number 180-318.
Support.
Discussion? Roll call vote, Mrs. Franks.
Councilman Jenny.
Yes.
Councilwoman LaPrat.
Yes.
Councilwoman Williams.
Yes?
Mayor Kindle.
Yes.
Councilwoman Costantino.
Yes.
Resolution passes.
Okay, item G9, progress payment number 2, final, 2022 sewer rehabilitation by full-length CIPP lining, number 180-284. Mayor and council, attached is a letter from our city engineers transmitting progress payment number 2, final, on the 2022 sewer rehabilitation by full-length CIPP lining, number 180-284. It is recommended that this payment be approved. Mayor, a resolution is recommended.
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
make the resolution to approve payment to Instituform Technologies USA LLC in the amount of $45,640.69 for progress payment number 2, final, on the 2022 sewer rehabilitation by full-length CIPP lining number 180-284.
Support.
Discussion?
Yes, Madam Mayor?
Yes.
Yeah, my only question was where was the CIPP lining placed? Where was it?
All over the city on Bernier, but Heather, why don't you answer this further?
I know we did Williamsburg, Vernier, and a few other locations, but I can get you specifics if you would like them. Okay.
Any further discussion? Roll call vote, Mrs. Franks.
Councilwoman LaPrat.
Yes.
Councilwoman Williams.
Yes?
Mayor Kindle.
Yes.
Councilwoman Costantino.
Yes.
Councilman Jenny.
Yes.
Resolution passes.
Okay, item G10, progress payment number 3, final, 2022 storm sewer open cut repairs, number 180-282. Mayor and council, attached is a letter from our city engineers transmitting progress payment number 3, final, on the 2022 storm sewer open cut repairs, number 180-282. It is recommended that this payment be approved. Mayor, a resolution is recommended.
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
I'll offer the resolution to approve payment to Great Lakes Contracting Solutions LLC in the amount of $5,581.90 for progress payment number 3, the final one, on August 2022 storm sewer open cut repairs, number 180-282.
Support.
Discussion? Roll call vote, Mrs. Franks.
Councilwoman Williams.
Yes.
Mayor Kindle.
Yes.
Councilwoman Costantino.
Yes.
Councilman Jenny.
Yes.
Councilwoman LaPrat.
Yes.
Resolution passes.
Okay, item G11, City Insight Development Fee. Mayor and Council, due to an oversight on my part, I failed to add the additional $45,000 development fee for the new services the city will be adding to the water bill app at your last city council meeting. These additional services include cash payments made from stores like CVS, liquor stores, Walgreens, etc., miscellaneous bill payments from our building department such as permit fees, enforcement fees, certificate of occupancy fees, etc., bill updates and selection for taxes, and overdue bill status reminders 3 days after the due date. At your last meeting, the contract was approved, but only the annual licensing fee was approved, not the one-time development fee, which is divided into two parts. $22,500, which is half, upon the engagement of this contract, and $22,500, the remaining half, upon a working solution delivered according to city standards. It is my recommendation that the development fee be approved. Mayor, a resolution is recommended.
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
call the resolution to approve the one-time development fee to City Insight LLC in the amount of $45,000 for the new services that will be included on the city's water app.
Support.
Discussion.
Madam Mayor? Okay, I'm just curious as why it was divided the way it was, with the $22,500 and then the other $22,500 after.
Okay, because one is the engagement of the contract, and we have to see if the product that they're delivering is going to meet the demands that we put on the developers.
And if it doesn't,
If it doesn't, they don't get paid. That's-
All right, any further discussion? Roll call vote, Mrs. Franks.
Mayor Kindle.
Yes.
Councilwoman Costantino.
Yes.
Councilman Jenny.
Yes.
Councilwoman LaPrat.
Yes.
Councilwoman Williams.
yes.
Resolution passes.
Okay, item G12, award of bid, window replacement project, City Hall. Mayor and Council, as you may recall, back in 2020, the city received a Distressed Cities grant for the replacement of windows at City Hall. Due to several setbacks since being awarded this grant, including receiving only one bid for the project, COVID, and the supply chain issues that followed COVID, we are finally prepared to begin this process. The single bid we received includes materials, labor, the egress window for the lower level, which is the court offices, and the frame and glass replacement for all windows at City Hall. I have attached a contract provided to us, which also includes a payment schedule for each phase of this project, beginning with the initial deposit, approximately half of the total cost. I have reviewed this with the DPW director, and we are recommending that this bid be awarded and the final initial deposit be approved to begin the window replacement. Mayor, a resolution is recommended.
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
I'll make the resolution to accept the bid provided by Park Residential and Commercial Services in the amount of $244,650 for the window replacement project at City Hall, and further to authorize the acting city manager to sign the agreement, and further to approve the initial deposit of $114,263 to be paid to the contractor.
Support.
Discussion. Just curious to be, when will this be completed this year?
It better be completed before it gets cold. Heather, you have a few comments on that?
Yes, he has told me it will be completed. barring any natural disaster. We should kind of put that out there just in case. So,
All right.
and it will in turn be thicker glass, different grades, everything was included in your packet.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Heather.
Is there any other further discussion? Okay, roll call vote, Mrs. Franks.
Councilwoman Costantino.
Yes.
Councilman Jenny.
Yes.
Councilwoman LaPrat.
Yes.
Councilwoman Williams.
Yes.
Mayor Kindle.
Yes.
Resolution passes.
Hey, Mayor, I do have, in addition to tonight's meeting, I would request that the attached items below be added to this evening's agenda. At the recommendation of the city attorney, the attached resolutions need to be adopted. The first resolution will formally withdraw the resolution for Charter Amendment Number 1 to repeal the retirement system, employee welfare, Section 5.6, Section A through H of the city charter. Ms. DeWally discussed this amendment at length with the state's Attorney General office, and ultimately they were not willing to agree to this amendment, as the city may sometime in the future again take over the retirement system, and thus was hesitant to approve this. Now, we're asking for a motion to add to the agenda 3 items, and I guess at this point, Mayor, a motion is recommended?
Okay, I need a motion.
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
I motion to add to the agenda the following 3 items. Resolution to withdraw resolution for proposed Charter Amendment Number 1, resolution to revise the prior approved resolution for proposed Charter Amendment Number 2, and payment to Dixon in the amount of $5,742.21.
All right, who's supporting?
Support.
Okay, discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Mayor, that concludes the...
You gotta do.
Yeah, okay, I'm sorry. The second resolution,
No, you have
Let's do the first
number
resolution.
13.
Let's do the first resolution.
We have to do them
You have
each
to vote on
individually.
it. Right.
I'm sorry. Item number 1. Okay.
Number 13.
Actually,
yeah.
Number 13, yeah, G13, item number 1.
Okay, so I'll make a motion again then?
Just for
Just the
number
first
1.
okay.
Yeah,
This
just
time
for,
it has to be a
Resolution to
resolution.
withdraw resolution for proposed Charter Amendment Number 1.
Support.
Okay, discussion?
It has to be a resolution.
It has to be a resolution.
The resolution's on the second page.
resolutions on the second page.
You want me to read it?
Right.
Yes.
Councilman Jenny just.
Just a
All
minute.
right,
Councilman
Councilman
Jenny.
Jenny.
Resolution to adopt the withdrawal, resolution for proposed Chapter Amendment Number 1 as adopted on May 15, 2023, repeal the retirement system, employee welfare, Section 5.16A through H of the city charter.
Okay, so, who supported?
Support.
Okay, discussion.
So, Madam Mayor, so by repealing this, we are returning the retiree system then?
Right.
Status
We
quo.
will
Status
To
quo.
status quo.
We're returning the wording just in case in the future we decide that we may go back to our own, I don't know why, but anyway, retirement system.
Okay, so we're just withdrawing
It's
the
just,
amendment?
yeah, it's just
Yeah,
status
they
quo.
wouldn't okay it from the Attorney General's office. Okay. So, roll call vote.
It's a resolution, yeah.
It's a resolution.
It's a resolution.
Discussion.
I thought we had, okay, I thought I said discussion.
Okay, roll call.
Yeah.
Councilman Jenny.
Yep.
Councilwoman LaPrat.
Yes. Councilwoman Williams.
Yes?
Mayor Kindle.
Yes?
Councilwoman Constantino.
Yes.
Okay, resolution passes.
All right. Now.
Okay, number 2, motion to add to the agenda.
No.
Okay, we did all 3.
We did all
Okay,
3.
so I'll give just a narrative here. The second resolution is to revise Charter Amendment number 2 for the election of a mayor pro tem. This amendment has been approved by the Attorney General's office with a language clarification that needs to be adopted tonight in order to move this process forward and have it on the November 2023 ballot. The revised wording is shown in italics. Mayor, a resolution is recommended.
All right. I need a resolution.
Madam Mayor,
Yes?
I'll offer the resolution to adopt the attached resolution to revise a prior approved resolution for proposed Charter Amendment number 2 as adopted on May 15th, 2023, Section 4.3, Mayor Pro Tem election procedure. You want me to read this whole thing? Okay. All right, council for the city of Harper Woods shall consist of 6 elected council persons who shall serve 4-year terms and 1 elected mayor who shall serve a 2-year term. The councilperson who receives the highest number of votes in a regular election to fill a 4-year term shall serve as mayor pro tem until the next regular election. Councilpersons elected to serve less than a 4-year term created by a vacancy are ineligible to serve as mayor pro tem. In the event of absence or disability of both mayor and mayor pro tem, the council may designate another of its members to serve as acting mayor in such an absence or disability. It is proposed that the charter be amended to state that the councilperson who receives the highest number of votes in a regular election to fill a 4-year term shall serve as mayor pro tem until the next regular election. And 2, those councilpersons elected to serve less than a 4-year term created by a vacancy are ineligible to serve as mayor pro tem.
Support.
Any discussion? Okay, roll call vote, Mrs. Frank.
Councilwoman LaPrat.
Yes.
Councilwoman Williams.
Yes.
Mayor Kindle.
Yes.
Councilwoman Constantino.
Yes.
Councilman Jenny.
Yes.
Okay, resolution passes.
Okay, item G13, number 3. Lastly, we received an invoice for the preparation and distribution of the summer property tax bills that was overlooked and not included on your agenda. This needs approval so that there isn't a delay in getting the invoices in the mail to our residents. It is my recommendation that this item be added to the agenda. Mayor, a resolution is recommended.
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
a resolution to approve payment to Doxum in the amount of $5,742.21 for the preparation and distribution of the summer property tax bills.
Support.
Discussion. Roll call vote, Ms. Franks.
Councilwoman Williams.
Yes.
Mayor Kindle.
Yes.
Councilwoman Constantino.
Yes.
Councilman Jenny.
Yes.
Councilwoman LaPrat.
Yes.
Okay, resolution passes.
Mayor, that concludes the city manager's reports.
All right, thank you. All right. As you guys may have noticed, we have a 3-minute timer here. And so you will be given exactly 3 minutes. Come to the podium, identify yourself, and once you start talking, your minutes begin.
My name is Roger Grass, 21401 Bournemouth. First thing, wondering, I know I live on Bournemouth, across the street, there's the apartments. I don't know if John got anything on it. They put in a thing to put canopies up like they do have on the apartments on Kingsville, and I think that would be a great idea. I'm just wondering if anything's going on that. The second thing, if Heather wants to comment on it, I called them on it. I was out there the day they were putting the crack seal on my street between Tyrone and Craig, which I told there was no traffic on that street. I'm watching the kid because he walked backwards with the hose, because if he went the other way, he'd be getting tar all over his feet. There was cars coming down that street 60, 70 miles an hour, and this kid's got to flop away from these. I mean, he almost got hit a bunch of times. And then there was one guy, I thought they were going to put tar all over his car because he's beeping all the way going through. So they just stopped. It was about 4:45, and I thought, well, maybe they're stopping for the day. No. I went out and I was talking to them. They told me the reason they stopped and they're not coming back on that street until they can block the whole street off, because they were told by the city that they could only block half of it. Well, if they want to get it done, you're going to have to block the whole street because the traffic is crazy. But what they told me is they said, well, they're not going to come back until then. And then I called July 5th, and I can't remember if I talked to you or Marjorie, and they told me that they're not in the area, so who knows when they're going to come back. But I just want to let you know that, I mean, she knows that. I'm just letting you know that because of what's going on. The third thing I want to talk about is the taxes. Okay, all of a sudden I'm looking at my taxes. The second one from the end, I go, Milk River, $103. I'm going, what's going on with this? We paid it on the water bill for how many years, and it was like $9, $10 every month or whatever. Now, when I went to pay my water bill, I talked to the girl that was sitting in your office there, and she told me, she said, well, the council okayed an $8 million increase, and then that's just the one, and then they're going to have another one in the winter. So how much are we paying on this now?
Okay, what has happened there is there was a class action lawsuit in the city, and what happened, the settlement that came out of that was that we could no longer use a flat fee for the payment of Milk River, and we had to switch to mills. And we have approximately $19 million in debt, okay, just on that Milk River, and that's equivalent to 12 mills. Now, there's 8 mills that are going to be on your winter tax bill. There's 4 mills that are going to be on the summer tax bill, and this is what the settlement was for the lawsuit. You know, it just.
There's one other thing. I called here, talked to somebody, and it's that school debt thing. I called and they said to call the school. I called and I got a thing, oh, we can't tell you at this time. And then I called 2 more times and nobody's answering. So my question is, what was his name? Beater, whatever the heck it was. He was the superintendent at the time. At the old school, we had that meeting, and he said that a family on the school debt would not pay, a single one would not pay more than $50 a year, and a family would pay $75. Well, when I talked to the person here, she said, well, that's other school debt added on. And I'm looking at this and I'm going, well, the school debt's like $330. I'm going, okay, what other debt are they have? And how long, I wanted to find out how much more we have to pay on this school. It was a 30-year thing. I go, well, it's got to be at least 20 years into it now. And they won't say nothing, and can you tell me?
No, we don't have any authority to even comment on,
all right,
on that.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's a school district.
Yeah.
Miss Zula?
Lynn Zolak, 19281 Beaconsfield, Harper Woods. I'm in the lower section of Harper Woods. My taxes went up $200. I don't mind paying it, but we don't have no amenities. No police. There's people that are shooting guns. Our kids are subject now to this hookah or whatever that you can go in and buy, marijuana, drug paraphernalia, and they're bringing it to school as edibles. What is this board going to do? More protection for the city of Harper Woods, for the residents? Or do you force me with this increase in my taxes to hasta la vista? It's up to you guys. You have to make the decision.
Good afternoon. My name is Tamara Buchanan. I may be the oldest graduate, but I'm a graduate cum laude from OCC. And this year I had to do a political science project. And I wasn't able to come at the last meeting for it, so I'm here tonight. And it's from I live on Woodmont, 20459 Woodmont Street. And as you know, we do block parties, we do Halloween for the children. When I first moved in 2014, we only had 2 children on the block. We now are overrunning in the streets, which we don't mind, but we need help. We've talked to the police department. They've told us that we're not on a direct street to a school. We talked to the fire department, and one of the fire departments have told the neighborhood that we're a fire route. This is what we have asked. I have started a petition. We're halfway through the neighborhood. I've been very busy trying to graduate, so I haven't gotten to the whole block. We, the concerned residents of Woodmont Street in Harper Woods, Michigan, 48225, are writing to request the installation of speed bumps on our street, or something. We believe that the measure is necessary to ensure the safety of all individuals who use this road. When we sit out on the streets at night for 1 hour, we don't have them going 35 miles an hour. It's a thorough street. They're going 80, 85, 90 miles an hour, which we don't mind. We understand. We do mind.
Yeah, you.
We mind. But we can't get, by the time we call the police, it's too late. By the time we do something, nothing can be done. We're hoping that none of the little children are hurt because we use the street and we do a lot, and we are a very connected street and a very connected community. I am in the process of getting the other half. Not one neighbor has opposed. This is the first of the petition, and I have the letter. However, I do not know who I should send it to or email. In addition to the research conducted by the Insurance Institution for Highway Safety, IIHS, have shown that speed bumps can effectively reduce vehicle speeds and improve safety by slowing down drivers. These devices can help prevent accidents and save lives. We understand that some residents may be concerned about potential noise and inconvenience caused by speed bumps. However, we believe that these concerns are outweighed by the benefits of increased safety on our street. Therefore, we respectfully request that you install speed bumps on Woodmont Street as soon as possible, or at least give us some solutions of where we can go. I'm bringing this to the City Council. I will make sure that everybody gets the emails of the papers and all of the residents from our city block. Only one lady so far has objected. So if you could help us out with something or give us any kind of solution, that would be awesome. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else would like to speak? Okay, seeing none. Excuse me?
I'm Janice Mulligan. I live on Lennon and Dupre. I don't know who to ask the questions to. As of May 25th, we've only had one meeting concerning the Robinson brothers and the issue with Pope Hart School. I have seen or not been informed of any other public meetings. I'd like to know when they might be, how they're scheduled. I don't see anything on a calendar that's letting us know as far as when we can have public meetings and attend these. The only one was with Robinson Brothers, and I didn't, if there were city council people there, I'm sorry, I didn't know. I didn't see anybody. I just saw them. And I just need some transparency from the council. What's going on? You know, we have a company that comes in and says, guess what, we're gonna do this. I live across the street from what's gonna happen, and I hear nothing. I just hear what they propose and what the council's proposing as far as the heights and things, but I don't hear who's doing what. Is this gonna go under the table and just sneak by us? Do we have any say? Do we have any transparency from the council and the Robinson brothers of what's going on? Or do I just wake up one day and see stories of buildings across the street from me? I'm getting nothing here, and I don't know who to talk to, I don't know who to ask, and I would really like some help. The other question is, I see there's a city council meeting in in October, I am so mixed up, in August as scheduled, but I see there's 2 city council meetings in September. Could you please tell me why? There's one stated for Wednesday, September 6th, and the regular one on the Monday, the 18th, but I don't know why there's 2, please.
September, we go back to regular hours. These are summer hours, where there's 1 meeting per month, and August is the last meeting
Okay,
of the summer months,
then why are there 2 in September?
because we go back to our regular
So there'll
first and
be,
third Monday.
so it'll be, but there's one stated for September 6th.
That's got to be the first
It's a
Monday.
holiday.
Because the
Or
holiday.
holiday, yeah, Labor Day.
falls on
Yeah.
Monday,
Yeah.
so we push it to Wednesday.
So
Instead
there's
of Monday,
one,
at Wednesday.
so for that month, there's 2, but they're regular city council meetings and they don't have
Yes.
anything to do with any of this construction?
Construction
For Popard?
Popard that is the Grosse Point School Systems building. The city of Harper Woods does not own that building.
I know.
It just resides in the city.
I get
We
it.
have no control over their actions whatsoever.
But I thought you had control over the zoning, the height.
We're not, there has been nothing proposed, no deals, transactions. It's all discussion.
So
at this
how do I
point.
find out? That's what I'm asking. I see no, how do I find out anything? Nobody's telling us. I feel very much in the dark.
The Grosse Point School System may have it on their agenda,
Yeah.
but yeah, we would get notified as an afterthought, like everybody else. That's their building. It's not ours.
But it's on our property. How do we?
No, it's not our
It's
property.
not our property.
It's across the street from me.
It's not our property.
But it's not our property.
Grosse Point School District owns that property and
Yes.
that building.
But once they sell it, they don't. So who do I find? I'm
When
trying.
they sell it, then whoever they sell it to will own it.
Yes.
Okay, then it's Harper Woods property, correct?
No,
No.
it's just like
Whoever buys it.
you selling your house, whoever buys your house owns your house.
Okay,
Your next door neighbor does not own your property. So therefore, they would have no say-so in what goes on your property.
so am I
So
under?
it's the same thing with that building. That building is owned by the Grosse Point School District. And we have been trying to work with them, but we have no say-so or cannot make a decision as to exactly what they're going to do.
But wouldn't you have to pass the zoning of increasing the height? Isn't that your job?
Yeah, I would think so.
I'm just asking. I don't know who to talk to. I'm sorry. I work in a
Grosse Point
position.
School District contact the superintendent there or the president of the school district, and they should be able to tell you what levels and what steps they are going. We are just like you guys in the blind as to what is actually going on at Papar. We would like for it to move forward.
So
but we
you don't
cannot.
have any say on how tall a building is? They do? I'm trying to find out who do I ask about how tall a
I just
building
told
can be?
you.
Mayor,
Not you.
she's got her 3 minutes. She can see somebody afterwards.
Yeah, okay.
But I still didn't get a clear answer. I feel
This
like
is
I'm being
public
brushed
comment.
off by the people we voted in.
This is
It's
public
not right.
comment, not comments and answers.
All righty then. Call the council, starting with, oh, wow.
You gonna do the same thing the school board did to me?
Yeah, I can.
Well, go ahead, and then I will definitely go and sue the city with the
I don't-
ACLU.
Mr. Simberg, whatever, you had an opportunity to get up and be here. So go ahead.
You were ready to gavel it. Really getting tired of all of this. I'm fed up with this city too, not only her, but me. I don't know if you guys know, you guys say the school system is separate. Since he's bringing in more students, there's more violence, including the dome that he wants to propose in the back of the school to add classrooms and make it a sports facility 24/7. And he's going to pay for it by adding more students. And we've got a lot of violence already. I've had drive-bys down by me. I'm fed up. I told Cheryl the other day, this is ghetto. We might as well be Detroit. I find it funny that you guys are restricting parking for the proposed marijuana places, but the halls up on Kelly Road can park wherever the hell they want, including double down the street, and when you call the police, they don't do nothing. How about the guy in back of the party store that's sets up every weekend and sells ribs? You're supposed to have a permit, right? Or how about the lady with the hot dog cart that takes up a spot on Kelly Road in front of the stores the same way? Or the parking on Kelly Road that I keep complaining about and you guys don't, and the police don't do nothing, including the basketball stuff that I keep telling. They go by and the kids pull it in, and then when 2 days go by, they put it back out. This is ridiculous. I come in today, I count almost every police car in that parking lot. Who was out on the road? Answer me, who was out on the road? For the first time in my life, I own my frickin' house. I paid it off early. But guess what? My value's gone up, and like she said, I'm thinking about selling and moving and getting the hell out of here because it's turning into a ghetto. And that's hard for me to say because I've been here since 1952. And I've seen this city go down and down and down. And as far as I'm concerned, as a mayor, you failed. Because every time you say, it takes time, it takes time. Where's the Wayne County Sheriff that's supposed to help with this speeding? And let's go with the speed bumps. Speed bumps do deter. Because those people that that are speeding will go somewhere else. They're in Detroit, you watch the regular people and go down. The speeders don't want to be bothered with those.
All right, thank you.
Hello, council.
Yeah.
Your name, please?
Jacqueline Lovrance, I live on the corner of Buffet and Dupree, where our 3-story high sky rises are going to be built city in a city. I'm not here to necessarily complain about that because my opinion obviously doesn't have any relevance. I can see about the speed bumps. I need one too. How come there's nobody collecting money for stop sign running, for handheld phones, for tinted windows on their vehicles? I'm telling you this, in this new world order rage in these digital games, you don't own my G-nodes, it's my DNA. World Economic Forum. There are no other solutions. There must be a revolution. And the rest of this world, it's not allowed to be heard. The 201 agenda in 2030 is already in the works. Learn it. Stand up, protect us. Your oath to this nation. Stand up, protect us, or leave with your rations. Stand up, protect us, bonded reps. You will see I will die free before you chip, track, and trace me. And God already won. You have stripped Elmer Fudd's guns, but you won't be taking mine. I'd like to add, in the Life magazine of 1942, during the war, they actually taught the children how to protect their family and their food.
Is there anyone else who'd like to speak?
Yeah, Tony Wagner, Washtenaw, nothing confrontational, I assure you. Just a clarification for the city manager about the Milk River, the ongoing increase, 8 mills, 4 mills, because it has to be on a millage basis versus a flat fee. That I understand. I was just curious because my summer taxes went up by almost the exact same amount that my water bill didn't get. I didn't have to pay the water bill. I mean, is that just coincidental?
Now, what actually happened was part of the stipulation in the lawsuit was that the law firm did a mailing throughout the city. If people wanted to make a cash claim, they had to file their form, send it to their offices, and the law firm would mail them a check. Okay, with the remaining money that was in the settlement, there was almost a little over $1 million. We had to return that money to all the people that paid water bills and were property owners in the city. So everybody got a credit. They did all the calculations, and that's why you didn't pay a water bill, but you had to pay a millage.
But there's no significance. It's just coincidental. For my particular property, they offset.
Yes. Yes.
That's all. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Is there anyone else?
Georgine Gersdorf. I live at the corner of Peerless and Van Antwerp. My question is in regards to the verbiage in the change of refuse collection. You stated that the garbage cans needed to be closed. Is that correct?
A lid.
A lid.
A lid needs to be on it. Yep. In the wording in the council minutes, it states in a lidded container or in disposable plastic bags thrown at the curb. So which one of those is correct?
Well, actually, both are correct, isn't it?
Correct.
If it's in a
Yeah,
bag,
it's either
you
in a
tie
bag
the bag
or-
up.
correct.
If it's in a can, then you have to make sure that the lid is on the on the can.
How is that plastic bag gonna deter rodents? Because you stated the reason for the lid was to deter the rodents, squirrels, whatever.
Yeah, generally.
Plastic bag doesn't stop that.
Well,
Makes it a little harder.
yeah. When garbage is open, it's an open invitation.
No, I understand that. I'm the supervisor of environmental enforcement for the city of Detroit. I understand all of that. I know where rodents come from, why they're there. I understand all of that. But what you stated tonight was completely different than what was in the words. And I wanted to be sure that I was following what you were putting on paper or the words that came out of your mouth, which is correct.
Okay.
What's on paper?
The ordinance.
The ordinance, okay, well then the ordinance, what is on paper is correct.
Okay.
So my words, obviously, I misquoted.
I'm good. Thank you.
Is there anyone else? Okay, Councilwoman Williams, please.
Good afternoon, good evening, everybody. I'm glad to see so many people out. I do listen intently to things that concern you. I am glad that we did have a person here to answer many of your questions about this, about the marijuana zoning. Because I had some of the same questions too, so I was glad they were answered for you. I had the opportunity to attend the Morton Development open house. This Morton Development opened a new building, and they had an open house for people to come out and see what they were doing. So that was a very good activity, a very good thing for the community. And they're located on Harper, so they're going to be helping the community with, I guess, different ideas about development and financing. So it's good to see them in our community. I did have a concern still about fixing the sidewalks. So hoping eventually that's going to be done because this is July and we only got August, September, October. and then it starts getting too cold to fix the sidewalks. So hoping the sidewalk project to help fix the sidewalks in our community will start soon. But then there was a comment that I heard tonight that really did bother me. And that was the one about the students and the schools. I've been teaching school for 27 years, and I've taught all over Detroit. And adding more students do not increase violence. That's not what increases violence. If the school system add more students, many of the students are not even from the city, they're from outside, so at the end of the day, 3:30, they go home. They're not in our city creating violence. Violence is created from people within the city who lives here, okay? It's not from the added students that's coming from other places. That does not increase violence, okay? So I take offense to that as a teacher, as an educator. Students do not just add more kids, violence increases. It does not work that way, okay? It does not. If there are improvements made to the school, that's a good thing. We should be improving our school system. We should be improving our school buildings. So if it's being improved, that's a positive, not a negative, okay? To help with the violence, it has to be something else. It could be, I mean, I don't know what increases about a lot of the violence. There's a lot of different factors that go into that. But it's not just adding kids, adding students increase the violence, okay? That's not the way it works. Again, I've been an educator for 27 years now, and many schools, some of them, some of them very urban, some of them better than others, and some schools had students that did have violent tendencies, but it had nothing to do with adding students. That is not how it works. And with that, I'm done. Thank you.
It's hot tonight, so I'll be brief. I just wanted to offer my condolences to our councilperson, Vivian Zawicki. The reason she's not here tonight is that her mother passed away, and so we all have her in our thoughts and prayers tonight, and that's all I have for tonight.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, two quick things. Number one, National Night Out is on Tuesday, August 1st at 5 p.m. I believe it's at
Johnson Park.
Johnson Park, yes. And I know a lot of the NEDC members will be volunteering there. The next thing is, I attended the Heartland Summit, and the mayor also attended. And this was downtown Detroit. It was really, really good. I'm so glad I went. They had panels of people and guest speakers, and like the senator from Iowa, like a whole bunch of really good people speaking. Everything was really good. They talked about business, agriculture, housing, technology. They even had like a panel of techies and everything talking. And there was just so much to get out of that. The biggest thing I remember, though, is the serious shortage of accountants. So if anybody knows someone who doesn't know what to be and they're good at math, tell them to be an accountant and make good money. But that's another thing. But it just basically showed us what the world was going to be like, in 20, 30 years, and what we needed to do to make it go in the best direction. And how important agriculture is, even now, and even in the future. So there was a lot to think about.
All right. Thank you, everybody. It's been overheated. I'm overheated, and I'm ready to go home. So, Mr.
I'd like to make a motion for adjournment.
Support.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Meeting adjourned.